Hello and good evening. This is your host, ghidamajzoub, and I'm proud today to introduce to you a biomedical engineer who has been working for so many years about medical services and about medical equipment and all things related to medicine. 2 years ago, almost, he started an idea which was really very successful, and a year ago it became operational, which is telemedicine. At the beginning, I would love to introduce to you Hady Bsat, who is the founder and the CEO of Drab. Hady, good night, good evening, and welcome.
Good evening, Ghida. How are you?
I'm so happy to have you tonight with me because really what you're doing is an excellent job, especially that it started right before COVID when nobody used to think that probably we might not be able to see any doctor physically in person. But now we all need to see a doctor through a screen and to ask him for consultations and questions through the screen, nothing else, no consultations in person. So just tell me before how you thought about starting the telemedicine industry before going into Drab in particular.
As you know, Ghida, I've been in this sector for the past 20 years and working day to day with the doctors as well as with the regulators and hospitals and even with the patients. We have seen that there's a need at some point to digitize this relationship between the patient and his doctor. So the idea started 2 years ago. It was only an idea before COVID-19 outbreak. And when COVID-19 hit the ground, as we say, we have seen major acceleration.
Yes,
And all telemedicine, all across the globe, got accelerated. And definitely there's no way back. Because a lot of people would say, okay, when Corona's over, are we going to go back to where we were? The answer is no. Not because we don't feel safe, but because we are seeing how technology is servicing us and how much we can use it in better ways.
Yes.
And having said so, it's good to mention, for example, in the US, there's a study by McKinsey talking that the US will move almost quarter of their spending, around $250 billion, will be spent on digital healthcare. If we look at other studies saying that 75% of cases can be solved by phone or video. So these are very big statistics that only encourage us to step into this space of telemedicine and teleconsultation. The telehealth is a very big space, and there are several pillars in it. So there's the teleconsultation, there's the monitoring, there's the electronic medical records, there are the wearable devices, there's the education for telehealth, there's the surgical and therapeutics. So telehealth is a very big space, and I believe it got really accelerated. Now, in Drab, we took only one part of that today, which is the teleconsultation. In my opinion, this is what matters most. We understand medicine through our doctors. So the first relationship for us with medicine is our doctor. So if we need to facilitate the relationship between us and our doctors, we need to have a user-friendly, easy way to connect with our doctors. And this is where Drab came into place, creating a simple solution for the patients, yet a convenient, well-controlled technology for the doctor to offer to their patients as well.
Exactly, especially that everybody now went online. So everything was working to build a new transformational world. But COVID helped in doing this. COVID was the biggest friend to business transformation and everything transformational that went online. Although it was a big strike to many other industries, but for the online workers, it was really a big help, and it did improve their work and help them improve more and work more on their industry. So now when we're talking about Drab, you started Drab in Lebanon, back in Lebanon, right before the outbreak of COVID, as we said, because even the old people who are not familiar with the online computers and everything, they do not know how to go online and probably talk to their doctors. You made it so easy for them so as to be able to connect with any doctor they would like, and they have a trustworthy doctor that they can ask and get a satisfactory result out of him.
This is a very important factor that was based on a study as well done by Deloitte. Deloitte, they did a study in North America saying that 88% of patients would like to connect with their chosen doctors. So people don't want to connect with randomly assigned doctors. There is this patient-doctor relationship that you build that is based on trust. And just talking to a doctor because he's available where you don't know him or you don't have previous relationship doesn't have the best outcome.
Exactly.
That's why we see today, for example, in Drab, we have patients from 25 countries around the world, probably Lebanese expats, are talking to their own doctors back home. So this tells us that this doctor-patient relationship is crucial. And this is how we differentiate Drab from any other platform in telemedicine. Most of the platforms that do exist today, they are connecting you with any available doctor. You just go in, say, for example, I need a cardiologist. I need it for that. At that time, probably some of them, they select by pricing, and then you connect. Well, our proposition is totally different. Yeah, it's totally different because we believe that we give you the chance to invite your own doctors inside the platform, and we give the chance for the doctors to invite their own patients into the platform so that it becomes their networking relationship inside a very technology-heavy platform.
As you said, it's a user-friendly platform, and this is the most important thing, because as we know, all of us, all generations, maybe now the millennials are the people who go so easily on computers and they know how to deal with everything. But for everybody else, online technologies are still very difficult for most of us, and especially the elderly. So having a user-friendly platform, how much difficult was it for you, and what were the challenges that you faced in order to make it that user-friendly?
Actually, it's a learning curve. We started somewhere and then we developed. We developed big time. We are very fast in changing to what matters for the users. So we listen to the users. We are on continuous development and enhancement of the application. But our objective from day one was to have an easy platform, because patients don't think of the doctor-patient relationship as a complex relationship. What do you use mostly? You use WhatsApp, probably. You pick up the phone. So it is as simple as that. So if I create a platform that is too complicated for you, probably you wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
Now, that's why the major challenges, definitely coming from Lebanon, we had major challenges during the past period with payment gateways and credit cards because of all what's happening in Lebanon. But the good part is that it did not restrict us. We were able to find alternative payment gateways so that patient can still pay with local currency as well as external currencies. And now we are as well opening in Egypt. As we speak, I'm in Cairo. We are establishing Drab Egypt and launching it, and we are having more and more doctors on the platform so that we can expand on a regional level and on an international level.
And it's completely different dealing with 6 million people as a population to 80 or 90 million as a population in Egypt. This is definitely a huge challenge for you. So how were you able to adapt Drab from Lebanon to Egypt?
Actually, it was a decision because we didn't want, for example, Jordan is a country where we have operated for a while now in other businesses, but we didn't want to move from Lebanon to a similar economy country. So we decided that if we really want to expand, we wanted to try out a large economy of scale like Egypt, where actually they more than 100 million now.
Actually, as we speak, maybe they're 101 now.
Exactly. So accordingly, we looked at what matters here in Egypt. Definitely, it's a very big marketplace. We had to accommodate our language. We just launched as well the Arabic language a few days ago. So now Drab تتكلم عربي. So you can have you can use Drab in Arabic. And we are also accommodating the local payment Egyptian pounds payment gateways. And definitely the whole approach to the doctor community and understanding how the patient-doctor relationship, the regulations, what should be done, what shouldn't be done, the criteria for doctors and onboarding them are relatively different from country to a country. But the fact is that we have been working on Drab with doctors from more than 12 countries. So although we are just launching in Egypt, however, we have doctors from Brazil, from Argentina, from Canada, from UK, from Pakistan, GCC countries. So we have done all the homework in order to be able to validate doctors in several countries around the world so that they can offer this solution to their own patients. However, we know that localization matters. That's why when we came to Egypt, we looked at what matters for localization. You need to speak the language. You need to pay within the same currency. And definitely, for the doctors, whenever they see you and they know who they are talking to as a service provider, the adoption rate is much better during the launching phase.
And as you said, probably gathering all of these doctors from all of these countries also, this was also a bigger challenge as well. And to be able to cater to everybody, because now any work is remote. You can do it wherever you are and all around the world. And especially if you're dealing with Drab who are working especially to people to provide the services to them wherever they are. So now if we want to talk the business side, because this is something that comes to mind immediately also, because we know when we go to see a doctor, the first thing is that we do the consultation, even before he takes a look at us, even before he tests us, or even before there's a physical test.
Examination.
So what are the expenses that you are working on? What are the platforms that you are working on?
Okay. Drab believes that each doctors are not equal. So each doctor has his own pricing structure. Each doctor has his own experience, knowledge, background, commitment, response time. So all of that is up to the doctor to set his own pricing on Drab. Inside Drab, each doctor has his own pricing bracket. So we believe that doctors are not equal. They do have their different background, knowledge, experience, education, time and response time on the application. And accordingly, we gave them the flexibility to set their own pricing. At the same time, even though they set their own pricing, they have three options. They can set a price for a complex case, for a simple case, and they can still offer complementary cases for whoever they see that they need to give it complimentary, probably family, friends, etc. Because what is important, and this is something that we face a lot with a lot of doctors, they will tell us, okay, I have all my family and friends and they connect with me over WhatsApp, for example, or over a phone call. What we say is that even your friends, you don't examine them in the street, you examine them in your clinic, okay? Probably you won't take money from them, okay? But you examine them in the clinic. So the same thing, Drab is not only a way for a payment. Drab is a medical platform, secured platform. It contains the last history of the patient. It contains the patient profile. It has the electronic prescription. It has the follow-up. It has a virtual assistant within the platform that reminds the patient and the doctor of the follow-ups. When do they need, what do they need to do? So all of that is to facilitate the relationship, regardless of the payment per se. This is the pricing structure, and you can see a large variety of pricings between new doctors or high specialized doctors. So you have a wide variety between the doctors. Each patient can go and see the prices of each doctor before he communicates with them.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the specializations, but I cannot go beyond the big help that you provided also after the Beirut explosion, which I call the massacre. When you provided also, you gave Drab provided also a lot of medical assistance, especially on the mental health of the people who were traumatized by the explosion, which is something really we need to we owe you a big respect, because you did provide this, which was really very important to everybody who witnessed this big huge massacre that happened in Beirut last August.
Thank you, Ghida. This was part of a large campaign, actually, that was funded by the USAID funded IM Capital in Lebanon. And Drab was lucky to be part, or not to be part, to be a tool in this campaign to support those impacted by the Beirut explosion. And the support wasn't only for people who were physically hurt or damaged, but as well for people who got, as you mentioned, mental who needed mental help, or who needed, or probably for people who did not get injured themselves, but probably a member of their family.
Exactly. Even well. They lost very, very precious people. Also, they are suffering a big trauma afterwards.
Exactly. So we were able to support in that. In addition, that campaign supported not only the individuals impacted, but also the SMEs, because we believe that doctors as well were hurt. There are doctors, their clinics were completely destroyed and they were unable to serve their patients. So this campaign served as well the service providers, who are doctors in this case, in order to continue their mission and their service to the patients in need. Actually, we served around 1,000 patients with that campaign, and we're really proud to have taken place with that initiative.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of what you did. Really, it's really very respectful, and it's really something that we owe you all the respect for what you did. And also, if we want to talk about Lebanon, unfortunately, with the current situation, also there's a big exodus of everybody in Lebanon, and especially in the medical field. Also, Lebanon is being drained of their medical staff. If we know some numbers, we know that there are a minimum of 300 doctors who have left already Lebanon in the past couple of months. So now also with this big draining of Lebanon, of these doctors, probably they're being abroad, they can work through telemedicine, through Drab as well now.
This is a fact that is happening. Doctors who are leaving Lebanon, unfortunately, Drab is offering them a way to stay connected with their patients. And because we do hope that their exodus will not be for long, and they will be back to Lebanon soon enough. So this will be a great way for them to stay connected, and it gives, honestly, a lot of comfort to the patients. And not only doctors are leaving, we know as well that a lot of people are leaving Lebanon. And just before we got together on the call, I received a call from a friend of mine who had to leave Lebanon, and they are in the UK right now, and she was using Drab with a pediatrician, their pediatrician in Lebanon. That gave them comfort, because they are still connected to the same doctor that used to know their children's case.
Of course, and especially that people, when they leave their own mother country and they go to a new foreign country, even if it's very adoptive, and even if it takes them in this country, all they need, or all they think about at the beginning, is the medical field and the academic field, especially for their children. So these two things are the first thing that come to their mind, and probably Drab is doing a great job providing one of these two services, which is really essential for everyone. If you want to discuss also the specializations that are mostly attracting people on Drab, what are the basic specializations that are really very attractive to people, to the patients all around the world?
The top specialties, definitely with the current situation, you have the infectious diseases as well as family medicine. These are definitely on the top list. In general, telemedicine is very handy for dermatologists, because of the type of teledermatology. And then you will have all the orthopedic, cardiologists, pediatricians. These are more using the telemedicine in general. But there are very obvious specialization. But believe it or not, there are 55 specialties on Drab today. And from medical doctors to health specialists as well. And health specialists do include clinical psychologists, speech therapists, dietitians, and nutritionists. So it's really a wide scope of healthcare providers within Drab.
So Hady, dealing with all of these patients and all of these doctors all around the world and with all of these specialties, if a doctor prescribes or gives a medication prescription for a patient, how does a pharmacy deal with it? Because we know that the pharmacies all around the world are very strict about the prescriptions. So how does it work this way?
Of course, there are two things in the prescription. There are the prescription medication and there are the OTC medication. So definitely OTC, you won't have the problem.
No.
Whenever the doctor
which are the over the counter.
Exactly. So you can get them. Now for the prescription per se, I believe this is a more complex exercise that all the telemedicine platforms need to work on. In order to work with the regulators to facilitate and validate electronic prescriptions.
Yeah.
Now, in Drab, we have created verified electronic prescriptions. We have created the technology, but still, definitely, it needs to be certified per country, depending on the local regulations. Mm-hmm. Like in Lebanon, for example, there is what they call the unified prescription. And this is mainly used whenever you want to claim your prescription from the third-party payers. So in that case, unfortunately, till today, you have no way but to take the physical prescription with you. And this is where Drab team in Lebanon is facilitating for the patients. So whenever the doctor issues the electronic prescription, it goes to the assistant of the doctor who has to, unfortunately, fill it by paper and do all the stamps, and then Drab team will deliver it to the patient in order to take it to the pharmacy.
Yeah.
But I believe this is a space that will evolve, as well as the regulators. They need to evolve their mentality and provide the right regulations and technologies so that this electronic prescription will be accepted globally.
Of course. Hopefully, this will be this will work all over the world, because definitely this is what we need, especially in these difficult and crazy times. If you want to end our interview, we want to conclude it with the future of Drab. What's the future of Drab, and what's the future of telemedicine as well?
I'll tell you the future of telemedicine. We'll start by that, because I always talk about it's a surgery that was done for a Parkinson patient, and there was 3,000 kilometers between the doctor and the robot in China, and that was almost a year ago. So imagine where the technology will move, as well with the telecom industry, because the faster internet, the uninterrupted internet like 5G will definitely take the technology into new space. So this is from a surgical standpoint, and you will see telemedicine going into totally new dimensions. Now for Drab, we believe that we need to excel in the teleconsultation part. We see that a lot of platforms are trying to do one telehealth solution that has everything. That's nice, but more importantly, we need specialization. That's why we believe Drab is specializing in the teleconsultation, and we're looking at all the tools, from wearable devices to diagnostic tools to monitoring tools, that will help the diagnosis of the patient so that we can have a perfect teleconsultation. Because today we are using teleconsultation as secondary. Yes. If I cannot go see the doctor, I will use teleconsultation. I believe the future will be totally the opposite.
Exactly. Even if I can go see my doctor, I will use the telemedicine.
The primary will be telemedicine or teleconsultation, and if needed to go for a physical examination, this is where the doctor will tell you, come for a physical examination. Because don't forget that not only the patient, but the doctor as well is exposing himself to a lot of infectious diseases. And it's not only, corona is not the only infectious disease. Not the first, not the last.
Not the last.
So not to mention, of course, the time, the efficiency, etc. Elderly people who cannot move.
Exactly.
So the future is definitely going to be primary digital, then physical.
Exactly, exactly. And this is a very good point to end our interview. And all the best for Drab. And definitely, as you were saying, telemedicine is a big space, and it will keep on getting bigger and bigger each year after year. Thank you so much for being with us, Hady. Thank you, and good luck for all the work, all the great work that you are doing now in Egypt, and hopefully also to other countries in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ghida. Thank you. يعطيك العافية for all the efforts that you are doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's the least I can do, especially with successful people like you who are doing their work and who are doing a great job in order to help people wherever they are all over the world through this telemedicine platform, which is Drab. Thank you. And if you want to watch the interview with Hady Bsat, who is the CEO and the founder of Drab, the telemedicine platform, you can subscribe on my YouTube channel, ghidamajzoub, and I will see you soon. Ciao.